So many guys struggle to get to 10% body fat because they can't stay consistent. And honestly, I don't blame them because they're constantly trying to follow meal plans like carnivore, keto, or just whatever's trending at the time. And the problem with that is that it's not sustainable. And tracking macros in itself can be very tedious, constantly weighing out every single gram. It's annoying. So what I'm going to do today in this video is show you how to create a perfect meal plan. One that includes all the foods that you love, one that perfectly aligns with your goals, and you're honestly gonna get a lot more clear about your goals in this video. And this is gonna be the last meal plan that you ever need because you're going to love it, you're going to enjoy it. And the more you enjoy it, the easier it's gonna be for you to stay consistent. Look, this is the same type of strategy that I've used with all of my clients who you're gonna see in the video, and I've used myself. I don't track macros anymore, and you don't have to anymore either, but you can still get to 10% body fat in no time. Let's jump straight into the video. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. Let's dive straight into it. So this meal plan is going to get you to 10% body fat without tracking macros. You're going to love it, and that's why you're gonna be able to sustain it. Let's dive into it. The first thing that we need to do is figure out whether or not you should cut, bulk, or recomp, right? Because if you're building a meal plan, it has to be tailored to you and to your goals. So let's get very specific on your goals, because I know a lot of guys don't really know, should I cut, should I bulk? Well, let's get clear on that before we build out this meal plan. And I'm gonna show you how to determine whether or not you should cut or bulk, right? We're gonna keep it super simple. Let me minimize myself. Okay. So these are former clients of mine. Some of them I'm still working with today. This is Andre. Okay, Andre was very skinny. And with Andre, we did a lean bulk. This is Sean. Sean had like a dad bod, sort of a chillin' bod, where he had some muscle, but he had some body fat. Sean had to do a recomp. And then obviously Henry, was pretty overweight. So Henry had to do a cut. And the way that you're able to determine is based off looking at yourself. I mean, you can make a pretty good determination when you don't overthink it, right? Andre's clearly got abs that are visible here. He's very, very skinny. He was like 150 pounds here, and he's like 6 foot tall. So obviously, he can afford to bulk without like worrying about putting on fat. Whereas Sean, he's like the in-between, and this is where a lot of guys are. Maybe you have a little more muscle than Sean, but if you can't visibly see your abs, but you got a bit of muscle, but you don't look like Henry, you probably need to do a recomp, right? You're like 12 to 16% body fat, and then obviously if you're just overweight, you have to cut down. But I'm gonna give you, this is like the mirror test. So look at yourself in the mirror, see which one of these guys you resonate with most as far as like where your body kind of looks, and then take it from there. But if you want a more practical way to look at this, if you wanna know if you should bulk, well, you need to be at least 12% body fat with lean abs, like Andre here. That's how you know if you need to bulk, right? You're lean enough to add mass without gaining fat. So if you're skinny, scrawny, you gotta bulk up. Now, for the recomp, 12 to 16% body fat with some muscle and soft in the midsection. Like Sean had some broad shoulders, but soft in the belly. And basically, if you look like that, you need to do a recomp. So like you're in the skinny fat zone, and the best move is gonna be, stay at a maintenance, optimize metabolism, just kind of build muscle while slowly leaning out. So this is where the most guys are, right? Most guys just need to do a simple recomp. But then, if you're above 16% body fat, and you have no abs and you kind of look soft, you gotta cut down. You need to drop body fat first and focus on leaning down before you start chasing any size. So basically, if you're overweight, you need to lose the weight first, and then there's a second phase where you actually worry about putting on the lean muscle, etc., right? If you're like Sean, you're recomping. If you're like Andre, you're going to bulk. So take a screenshot of this if you want, so that you know basically how to analyze yourself when you do your mirror test. So once you have an understanding of where you need to go from here and what you need to do with your body to get close to your goal, because everybody wants to be 10% body fat, lean, broad shoulders, abs, all these things, but each person has a different path to get there, right? And now you know which path you need to take. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna head to tdeecalculator.net, and we're gonna find something called your maintenance calories, which is basically just how many calories you burn on a day-to-day basis, on average. So basically, let's say it's 2,400. That would mean if you ate 2,400 calories and your maintenance is 2,400 calories, you wouldn't gain a single pound, but you wouldn't lose a single pound. Now this is important to know as we build up this meal plan, right? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to tdeecalculator.net. Let me get a fresh page. And basically you're going to put in your age, your height, and weight. Let's say you're 32 years old. Let's say you weigh 214 pounds and you're 5'10". Maybe you're training right now 3 to 5 days a week. And body fat, you probably don't know it. So just click calculate, right? Now you have your maintenance calories. So we're gonna use this example of a 32-year-old man, 214 pounds, 5'10", throughout this whole process, just to use it as an example, right? So let's say your maintenance is 2,987. You're gonna take this number and you're gonna write it down in your notes, okay? You need to take notes as we go along this, because this is not like a video where you're saving it for later and coming back to it. You're doing this along with me as we go through. So open up your TDEE, grab your maintenance, pause this video if you have to. We're gonna do this together because you need to get this done, okay? So find your maintenance. Then from there, once you have your maintenance calories and you know whether or not you're gonna cut, you're gonna bulk, or you're gonna recomp, you are gonna pick your pyramid, okay? And I'm gonna explain what to do with each one. Let's say you find out that you need to cut. What you're going to do is take your caloric amount, so 2,987, and you're going to subtract that by 500, right? So 2,987 minus 500, your new caloric intake is going to be 2,487, right? If this is your maintenance and you want to cut down, you are going to be eating 2,487 calories. Now, as far as your macros, all you need to worry about is the protein, okay? The carbs and the fats aren't relevant until later into the cut. So you're going to take your body weight in pounds and times that by 1.2 grams of protein, okay? That is all you need to know. So now you know your calories, and then you weigh 214 pounds, so 214 times 1.2. That's 256 grams of protein that you need to be eating every single day. So now you know what your maintenance calories is, and you know what your protein intake is. That's how you do it for a cut. Now, if you need to do a recomp, all you need to do is take your maintenance, which is right here, 2,987, and you're going to subtract it by 200. That leaves you with 2,787. You want to be in a very, 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 very tiny deficit when you do your recomp. So basically, you're going to take whatever your maintenance is and subtract that by 200, okay? And then you have, as far as your protein, all you need is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And just to clarify for you, on the cut, the reason you need more protein is because you need to hold on to as much muscle as humanly possible and only let your body only worry about burning the fat off while you maintain all the muscle. Okay, so if you're recomping, take your maintenance, subtract it by 200. If you weigh, in this example right here, 214 pounds, you're eating 214 grams of protein, okay? Now, bulking. If you are bulking, you are taking your maintenance calories and adding 250 to it. So we established the maintenance is 2,987 plus 250. That would mean you'd be eating 3,237 calories per day, okay? And the reason for this is you want to be in a slight surplus so that you are adding muscle and adding weight slowly. Because if you do it too quickly, you're going to add too much fat and you're going to have to end up cutting. But if you do a proper lean bulk, like my client Andre did, you can gain a bunch of muscle without adding any fat, okay? And then as far as your protein, you want to do 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight. So let's say you're 214 and your goal is to get to 230 pounds, you would be eating 230 grams of protein, right? Because if you need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight minimum, if you want to get to a certain weight, you need to be eating 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight, okay? So now that you know what your caloric intake needs to be based off what you need to do, and you know what your protein intake needs to be based off what you need to do, you are now going to make a list of all of your favorite foods and all of the foods you hate. So you can just do this in your notes app. You can do this on a Google Doc. You're literally just going to take 10 minutes and think about, what are all the foods I love, including protein, carbs, and fats, right? Not just snacks. Like maybe you love steak, maybe you love chicken, whatever it is. Maybe you love avocado, maybe you love, I don't know, dark chocolate, right? You're going to write out all the foods that you love, and you're going to write out all the foods that you hate. And let me give you a subtle reminder here. This is a one-time deal. You only have to do this once, okay? So write that stuff down, okay? So now you know exactly whether or not you need to cut, recomp, or bulk. You know what your maintenance calories needs to be. What your caloric intake needs to be, and you know what your protein intake needs to be. Now make a list of all the foods you love and all the foods you hate, okay? Once you have that done, you are going to go over to ChatGPT and you are going to put this prompt in. So I'm going to show you exactly how you do it. So you're going to copy and paste this, and here, I'm going to put it like this. Okay, I'm going to read this out to you, but what I want you to do is take a screenshot so you can write this into your ChatGPT. Now, if you don't feel like, writing out the screenshot, just shoot me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is in the description, and I'll just send this prompt to you so you can copy and paste it into ChatGPT. But this is what you're going to say to ChatGPT, okay? I want you to create me a personalized meal plan based on my calorie and macro needs. Here are my details. Okay, you know what your caloric intake is now because we just went through that. So you're going to write calories per day and fill in the blank of what your calories per day needs to be based off what we just went through. Then for macros, you are going to give it your protein intake and let it know that carbs and fats don't matter. And then you're going to give it the list of foods that you love included in the meal plan, right? You're going to drop it right there. Then you're going to write foods to avoid, and you're going to add all the foods you hate. And then you're going to tell it to create 3 breakfast options, 3 lunch options, 3 dinner options, and 5 snack options that I can rotate through. Every meal must fit within my total calories and macros for the day. No matter which options I choose, my daily totals should be close to perfect. Basically, what you are telling ChatGPT to do now is take your calories that you need to hit every day, your protein that you need to hit every day, and creating 3 options for breakfast, 3 options for lunch, 3 options for dinner, and 5 snack options that you can rotate through for the next couple of months that are going to be aligned with your goals. So you don't have to track it every single time. You know it's aligned with your goals, and you get to, eat foods that you genuinely enjoy, right? So that's how you're going to do it. Every meal must include at least 1 thermo food, in parentheses, a food with high thermic effect, like lean protein, eggs, ground beef, wild-caught fish, right? One of the biggest ways to burn calories, to increase your cellular activity so you could build more muscle, is to eat foods with high thermic effect, because the thermic effect of food is 10% of how many calories your body actually burns. So when you're eating foods that have a high thermic effect, you're literally burning calories by eating food. It's literally the biggest hack in the world. So what you're telling ChatGPT to do here is include a thermic food in each meal, so that every time you eat, you're burning calories. You see how you're setting yourself up for success here, because it's foods that you actually like and enjoy. You don't have to track, and you're burning calories every time that you eat. The next thing you're going to tell it is use foods that are optimal for gut health and metabolism. And here's some examples you can give it: grass-fed meats, pasture-raised eggs, raw dairy, fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, raw honey, fruits, no vegetables. Okay, you don't want vegetables with insoluble fiber that's going to cause inflammation. Stick to lean meats, fruit, etc. Okay, so that's what you're going to say. Then, if any of the foods I listed as my favorite foods are not optimal for gut health or metabolism, or contain seed oils, artificial ingredients, replace them with the closest healthy alternative that still satisfies the same craving. For example, a swap could be, conventional chicken for pasture-raised chicken, or protein bars with seed oils for whole food-based protein bars. What this is going to do is it's going to take your favorite foods, and if any of those favorite foods are not aligned with optimal gut health and metabolism, because that's what you need to focus on in order to get to 10% body fat, it's going to give you a healthy alternative. So you can still eat foods that you enjoy, but they align with your goals, right? And then you're going to tell it, keep it simple, realistic, and enjoyable so I can actually stick to it. Now, based on this information, create the full meal plan, the different options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. Okay, so this is the full prompt. All right, so I'm going to show you like an example of how it works. So we're going to take this, we're going to copy it. We're going to go to ChatGPT, paste it in. Now, let's say calories per day. I'm just going to do a silly little example here. 3,000 protein, 190 grams, carbs and fats don't matter. Let's just say like chicken, ground beef, and protein bars. Foods to avoid, foods I don't want, vegetables, always right, you don't want vegetables in the meal plan. Let's just say like, I don't know, maybe you don't like mayo. I have no idea. You're gonna make this in depth when you write it. I just wanna show you how this works. And then just click go. And it's gonna spit you out a meal plan. See? So it's going to give you 3 options for breakfast. And basically the way this works is no matter which option you pick for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, you're in alignment with your goals, right? Like you don't have to worry about, oh, if I do ground beef and eggs, I don't know if I eat the grass-fed burger, if it's going to work out. You can literally eat any of these meals and it will work. Look at these meals. Ground beef and eggs bowl. That's a freaking awesome bowl. 1 sprouted English grain muffin, raw butter, like that's an awesome meal. Look at this here, steak and fruit power plate. That's dank. ChatGPT will give you a good meal plan. Protein smoothie bowl. Yeah, look, it gives you everything that you need. It's going to spit you out an awesome meal plan. It's going to give you 3 different options you could rotate from. And if you don't like it, you could be like, change option 3 for dinner. Like you could just keep going back and forth with ChatGPT until you perfect this. Like it will work with you. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to give you an awesome meal plan that you could just come in here, copy and put into your notes app. And that's it. Now you have a meal plan you don't have to track. You know it aligns with your goals. All you have to do is stay consistent with it. And that's it. So like I said, if you want me to send you this prompt, shoot me a DM on Instagram. It's in the description and I'll send it to you. So basically, yeah, you're going to copy and paste this into your notes app. And now the only things that you need to track are the days that you deviate from this meal plan. So like, if you're taking your girl out to dinner, all you really want to do is track on those days. Just make sure what you're eating at the restaurant aligns with your goals. You could go to ChatGPT, tell it what you're getting at the restaurant. You could take a screenshot of the menu and just be like, hey, give me the calories for this. And just track. On the days where you're deviating from the meal plan, you track. But if you enjoy this meal plan and you could sustain it and stick to it, you don't have to fucking track. Just track only on the days you're going outside of it. So that's basically the way it works. It's very sustainable. You're going to be able to stay consistent with this. And that's why you're going to get results. Like look at the difference between Andre. He did the bulk the way I told him, the way I just showed you how to do it. And he loved it. And look at the results he got. He gained like 20-something pounds of lean muscle in 3 months. Got super, super jacked. Sean too. Sean recomp. This is him when he actually lost some weight. Got way leaner. You could literally see his abs. You could see his shoulders got stronger. Got way leaner. And then Henry lost 50 pounds. He lost 50 pounds. And he didn't starve himself. None of these guys starved themselves. None of these guys had to force feed themselves. They enjoyed their meal plans. And that's why they got great results. And that's why you will too. So go back. Take notes. Like I said, if you want the prompt, just shoot me a DM on Instagram. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I'm dropping game all the time. Drop a like on this video. And like I said, if you want to connect, Instagram is in the description. But stay consistent. That's the biggest thing. Consistency is what's going to get you results. Hold yourself accountable. Okay? Love you. Hope this was helpful.